Hey guys, welcome to the Bird Brothers episode 12. Two brothers in Ohio, lifelong Eagles fans. We're going to chat about kind of what we've seen from the Eagles so far this preseason. We're very excited for the regular season to start, but what we've seen so far in the regular season, and then are there really any potential roster spots available? There's a couple bottom of the roster positions that maybe you could debate on. And then I
Right.
just want to keep this one pretty brief. So, Ryan, let's start there. Like, what have what are your takeaways from the preseason so far? What have you seen that you've liked?
I mean, I think we're super. I mean, we have a lot of upside talent. A guy that everyone likes is obviously Devin Allen. The big 55-yard touchdown. I love the ability to stretch the field and have him as a playmaker. Um, Unfortunately, I don't know how good of a receiver he is necessarily, but I like him as a weapon. And I would hope that we would at least consider. I don't know what they've done. But maybe consider him as like a special teams guy with that amount of speed. Because I just don't understand the point in trying to hold on to this hope, that Jalen Reagor is going to come on. And I mean, I had it this before, training camp, but we still have yet to see anything special where I'm like, wow, this guy's really, he worked his butt off this offseason. I think we need to just be in the market, same as our Whiteside, and looking to trade Reagor, someone who's maybe a little more suited for his style. Um, but I mean, I'm real happy with how Pascal came off of his sickness. Looked great in training camp. Everything I saw from him, I think he solidified himself into that number 4 spot. Um, I heard one guy say he's in the 3.5 spot. Um, they think that he's going to share a lot of targets and a lot of playing time with Quez. Different roles. I'm assuming Quez is just going to be, probably the guy screen guy and just get the ball in his hands. But yeah, it's hard to believe that Jalen Reagor is now battling for the 5th, you know, wide receiver position on our roster. And at that point, I feel like we'll just cut our ties. His contract's going to be bigger than guys like Deon, Cain, Hightower. So, and Greg Ward, Britton Covey. I just feel like it's not worth holding on to him. And that's just for the receivers. There's a lot of stuff we can talk about, but we'll just start with that. Kind of my opinion. I would look for a trade partner and just get what we can for Reagor. And I'm not saying he can't play in the NFL. I just he might go somewhere else and play great, but that's just not working here.
Yeah, I agree. So I heard a little bit about this recently. So Rager's making 6 million this year.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem with finding a trade partner. They,
Right.
assume um, he's not under contract next year, which is crazy. Um, but yeah, man, Deon Cain, like, well, I was at the Browns game live and I saw the 55-yard touchdown to Devin Allen. And when he first caught the ball, number 39, I didn't know who the hell it was. I was like, then I saw the last name. I was like, oh, and I told Kiara, I told my wife, I was like, that's the Olympic athlete. That's the track guy. It's like,
Yeah,
dude,
yeah.
nobody gets that open in the NFL.
No.
He was wide open. So yeah, he's intriguing to me. Speed is always intriguing, and I don't know if Quez is a deep post type of runner, or I've never seen him really be sent deep posts.
All
At least
right.
maybe not hit on him. I've seen him get open like on those deep crossers and stuff. But you know, maybe that's Allen's kind of specialty. If you just take the top off the defense, that's a lot of speed. If he can help in the return game, we need a returner.
Right.
Yeah, Rager is, whatever. They say he's had a good training camp and they say that he's really talented, but like just can't put it together, man. Deon Cain is a 5-star guy out of high school,
Yeah.
third round pick from Clemson. I like him. He made plays in the game versus the Browns that I saw. Um,
That's the biggest thing though. It's awesome to have a great training camp and it's great to hear these things, but I don't buy into the hype of everything. Like I hope Jalen Hurts has a great year, but I'm not buying into Jalen Hurts had 3 great practices in a row, and it's like, oh, who's? And then you look and like there's one day where Slay wasn't out there, and then there's another day where like Fletch isn't out there, Brendan Graham's not out there, and like that's great, but he's going against a defense that he knows. For one, he knows the style of defense that we're running. Like, so it's for one, it's already an offensive minded game. The offense has the advantage. I would say, let's say 70% of the time, the offense, it's an offensive game now, and the different things have changed that, whether it's penalties being too aggressive on corners, things like that. But I feel like it's easier to succeed on the offense, and you doing it in practice doesn't immediately, I'm not just going to throw all my eggs in one basket and be like, yep, Jalen Hurts is our guy. He had 2 great practices in a row. That's kind of how I feel about when they talk about Reagor. They're like, yeah, great practice, tremendous upside. It's like, he should have that, right? Like, that's what we thought, right? It's not like we're acting like we're surprised that Jalen Reagor is athletic.
I don't want to talk about Reagor too long, but he looked so explosive in college. In college, he looked explosive. I've never seen any really elite explosiveness. He's explosive, but I've not seen. You know who's explosive? Jalen Waddle.
Yeah,
that's elite.
Jalen Waddle is explosive. I mean, the first time I saw him play in the NFL, I immediately, and it was like a slant route for like 8 yards. I was like, oh, he's going to be trouble if he stays healthy. And that's the thing with everybody. If you stay healthy, like Devontae Smith is just quick twitch, very hard, slippery guy to cover. I haven't seen anything from Reagor where I'm like, wow. Like, I mean, I remember the deep ball, like, was his first snap or the first ball thrown to him was deep ball he had. And it was like, okay. And then nothing after that, just like flatlined. And it's just been, I don't know. We can't pay him $6 million. It's like, that's crazy. I mean,
especially if we're competing, and maybe this happens later, right? I have a lot of respect for Howie. He plays the long game.
Yeah.
He's missed on draft picks, but all the fans forget, right? It's like, it's almost a season, man. Like, what are we doing? Why do we have Reagor? Maybe we deal him before the trade deadline. Maybe we're in a strong spot. We're in, second, third, fourth, fifth spot in the NFC. We're fighting for position. We make a trade at the trade deadline and we deal him. Maybe we deal him before that to get rid of the dead money. But yeah,
I mean, that's kind of the thing. What's the deadline of, like, not the trade deadline, but the deadline of having to move a guy? Like, I know there's big talk around Garoppolo as one of the guys. You don't want to keep this guy on your team if you're committed to Trey Lance. You don't want to keep. So I'll have to look that up. What's the deadline on actually like getting these guys off before we have to bite the bullet and pay that money, and then hope down the line that someone comes along and wants to just gift us half his salary?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I've got a really cool story that I guess I don't know if it's in the media. I don't know if it was shared in the media at all. Well, so my wife and my kids, we went up to the Cleveland Browns game, and after the game, right, I took a ball, this ball you see up here, Super Bowl 52 ball. I wanted to get it signed. I wasn't able to get any signatures that I wanted. I wanted somebody on the Super Bowl team. I wanted Kelsey, but I didn't get his autograph. But Zach Pascal, first of all, he's going to be able to execute. I know he gets a lot of hate, right? They're not a big Zach Pascal guy. Man, I like him so much as a person. And he's going to execute the offense way better than Reagor. He's going to play receiver at a way higher level. He's going to be a valuable play. He's going to make some plays for us. He's not like, you have 4 number ones.
Right.
He's a number 3. He's a number 4. He's a veteran. But, dude, listen to this story. So after the game, towards the end of the game, he comes out to the fans, right, in Cleveland. He's got a football. He throws it up into the stands. Guy catches it, right? You think, oh, he's giving away a football. That's cool. And then he's like,
right.
So the fan throws it back. He's like, points to another guy, throws it. Dude, he threw like 20 passes, playing catch with the fans, throwing balls to Eagles fans. There was an Eagles fan like 20 rows up, and he was like waving his hands. He threw the ball all the way up 20 rows up. People were saying, "Oh man, he's gonna get fined." One dude caught the ball and tried to run off with it, and the guy was like, Pascal's like, "Are you serious?" So like the security guard's like yelling like, "What's going on?" He's like, "He took the ball." They chase this guy down. They come back like 2 minutes later with the football, and he starts playing catch with the fans. Like it wasn't like one or two passes; it was like 20 passes. It was pretty awesome, man. Because there's little kids catching passes, and
You think
they're so
what's
excited.
what's the value of a Zach Pascal ball? You like tossing like not autographed, just yeah, I caught a pass from Zach Pascal and I want to sell it now. I need $2 million. Like, what do you expect to gain from that? Like now you're probably banned from football games in Cleveland. Like
Yeah, I don't know if he got like arrested or anything like that. If they get just but I was talking to Kiara. I was like, dude, you're a grown man. You tried to run off with a football. Other adults had to catch you.
right.
And like, what was that conversation like? You're like, oh shit. All right, here's the ball.
There was a recently at I think it was either a joint practice or something, but the Bills and Josh Allen was jogging back through the tunnel and a grown man threw a football in like the box it comes in and like tossed it down and hit Josh Allen in the leg. And he like turned, he's like, "That's not cool, man," and like just kept going. Like, a grown man just throws like a football in a box and hits your star franchise quarterback in the leg. Like he's not signing autographs at the moment. Like, yeah, but yeah, I don't know. To not get too off track, but yeah, man, I really hope we move Reagor. I'm reading this thing now about it's just the potential. The deadline is the 30th. So we got what, like just a couple days here.
Oh, well, yes, okay. So
to get down to 53.
Tuesday. Yep, that's Tuesday. Get down and so once that 53 deadline is done, that's where the cutoff is to lose the money.
I believe so. I'm not 100% on that, but it's just basically an article talking about all the players who are potentially trade or cut for the deadline to get down to 53, and it's Andre Dillard and Reagor.
What?
Yeah.
I would never cut Andre Dillard.
No, not cut. It's just basically they just made a list of like players that potentially could. It just says cut or traded because some guys on this list are going to be probably cut.
Well, yeah, if we could trade Dillard, I mean,
we can trade Dillard. I actually was talking to a guy today, and he's a big Bengals fan. He was talking about that there were rumors the Bengals have been in talks with the Eagles, but they didn't like the price tag, which we don't know what the price tag is. But I mean, I think we have
start for 50% of the teams, probably.
Yeah, and we have a solid team. The Bengals obviously need help on the offensive line. They've improved it over the offseason, but we have a very solid team to the point where I'm not gonna say we're like destined for Super Bowl, but we're a playoff contention team, and all you need is a ticket to the dance, as they say. Like, but having Dillard there as an insurance policy is, you can't just get rid of all your talent behind, because you think you can move it at the right spot. So,
yeah. If you're going to contend, like there's a good chance Dillard, if you're going to be a real contender, there's a good chance Dillard will play.
Yeah.
Like Milata might come out for a couple quarters. He might miss a game. Like hopefully not, but
right.
And if he misses a game and it's against the Redskins and it's Chase Young or the Cowboys with Micah Parsons or it's the Giants first round pick. What's the dude's name? Thibodeau.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's going to be like in the pros, but man, I like Andre Dillard, and I've seen so many good things from him. Like he goes in the game, he plays well.
It's a hard, unlucky situation, man. Like you happen to be behind a guy who never played football at 23 years old, but just a freak athlete, and turns out he's really good. And it sucks. It's bad time. And then on opposite side, we have Lane Johnson, who's not going anywhere anytime soon. So it's just a kind of a crappy situation for him. I don't doubt that he can play. It just happens to be we have two better tackles.
What if we could swap him for a player, not a specific player I'm asking you to name, but like, what if we could swap him for a positional player that would maybe beef up our roster? What position would you, if we could swap player for player, Andre Dillard for a position, what position do you think would be wise to bolster?
Um, I mean, I think we would benefit from a safety. It's not the most flashy, but this is a conversation I had today about before. We had it today, but we had it a few weeks ago. Talked about it because potential trade options was with the Bengals was Jesse Bates, who hadn't signed yet, didn't want to play under franchise tag. Moving Andre Dillard might clear up a little bit of cap, so we could make that swap. I don't know if that's an even trade because Bates really didn't have a great season. He played really well in the playoffs. So he played well when it counted. He had a middle of the road season. I don't know what kind of money he's wanting, but obviously now he's officially signed the franchise tag, so he's going to play under the franchise tag this year. But
he's getting paid just under $13 million this year.
Yeah, so that's it's pretty solid. And again, he didn't play great during the regular season. He played middle of the road, but he did play phenomenal in the playoffs. Made a lot of plays, pass breakups. So I would say somewhere in the safety, like we obviously know that's one of our weaker spots. That's where I would go with it. Safety. There's not really a whole lot of other stuff. I kind of wanted to see us bring in another running back. I have zero faith in Miles Sanders staying healthy. I literally
now.
Yeah, I was at work and I was like, this is the first time I've seen Sanders make it through training camp so far healthy. And maybe I jinxed him. And I'm not kidding. 2 hours later, I got a Bleacher Report update saying Miles Sanders hurts hamstring. I was like, he hurt his hamstring. I think it was a hamstring injury. I don't know the severity of it, but it's every year, man. It's like there's so much potential there. And it's like I was one of the guys that was a big believer because I was like, well, he was kind of overshadowed by Saquon at Penn State, and then he got his shot and he played well. And I had visions of like Shady McCoy 2.0 coming out and just being like this guy that can do it all, and he just can't stay healthy. And I don't like the idea. I love Kenneth Gainwell. I love Boston Scott as kind of scat back, like sort of change of pace guys, but I don't like them as every down backs. I mean, he's 200 pounds, which is very solid for 5'9", but I just don't think he's big enough to be the every down back. So I don't know. There's guys that I like. I've always been a fan of Samaj P. Ryan as maybe not a workhorse. I like that style of back, the bigger guy that can get us just a couple yards each time, and then have a change of pace like Gainwell or Scott. But
I got a name for you for running back because that was actually one of the thoughts I had too. Because Sanders is kind of banged up. I like Scott. I like Gainwell, and honestly, which I think we should be, with the weapons we have, we want to be. The Eagles want to be a passing team.
Yeah,
they're going to try to be a passing team. If you're a passing team, man, I kind of like Scott and Gainwell. Like that's more of a finesse style offense. Like, I like that. You know who's sitting around there that they can always pick up? Jordan Howard.
Yeah.
Familiar, good runner.
Yeah.
Very good runner, in my opinion. I'm a big Jordan Howard fan, but
you're one of the only ones.
Do you like?
He's just unexciting. I don't dislike him. I don't love him. I think there's guys out there that we could go get that need help on that, like the Jets need help on their offensive line. This is supposed to be their update, and they have Michael Carter sitting at RB2. They drafted Breece Hall. I like Michael Carter. I like Breece Hall more, but they're not going to trade Breece Hall. They just drafted him. So Michael Carter. I mean, there's guys all over the league I think that could step in and be every down backs for us.
Who's the Jets' number one running back?
It's going to be Breece Hall.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean,
what's the first round pick?
Second. Breece Hall was a second rounder.
Now, Carter was like a fourth, or was he a second?
I want to say third. Man. He could have been. In my head, I'm thinking third, but there's a lot of guys, man, that we could go get that I really like. That I think could really take a step with our offensive line and the way we run the ball. J.D. McKissick was a guy who I like. There's just a ton of running backs that I like more than Miles Sanders, not because of ability, but because of health.
Availability.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of my favorite parts, well, I wouldn't say favorite, but like my favorite part of the year is probably obviously the season, and then the NFL draft is amazing. I love that. But I really like the roster cut down. Like when they cut to the 53, I get on there and I look at every team, like who got cut, and I'm looking for names that like are
Yeah.
recognizable. So here's a name that I heard. I was watching a little bit of preseason, like a replay. Here's a name of a running back that I like, and like you said, behind our offensive line, like, and I think he's got a lot of ability. Trey Sermon.
Yeah. Ohio State.
Yeah. They drafted a guy. They drafted a guy. The Niners drafted a running back. They have a running back that's flashed well in camp. I think Sermon's like competing for like the 3rd or 4th spot. They got 6 guys on their roster
Yeah.
at running back. Sermon was like a 3rd round pick last year. He was in the doghouse. They were playing. Who's the guy? I forget. Elijah Scott, maybe. I don't remember, but they were playing last year. They were playing some late round guy over Sermon.
Oh, we're talking about Elijah Mitchell.
Perhaps, yeah.
Yeah. I like Elijah Mitchell though. I think he was very underrated last year. I think this year he's going to take a stride.
Yeah.
I like Trey Sermon.
But I would be excited if we grabbed Trey Sermon for either off the roster bubble or swap some late. Like, hey, say we traded Arcega-Whiteside for Amadi. We traded Amadi for a 6th round pick. Well, what if we flip that 6th round pick for Trey Sermon just to get him? You know, he was the 3rd round pick last year. If you don't know who he is, go watch what he did for Ohio State in the playoffs. He had a game he ran for 250 yards. He's hurdling guys. He's like 230 pounds. He's got speed, contact balance. And in our offensive line, like he's a talented guy that could make some plays, I think. So,
oh, for sure. And like I said, there's a ton of running backs with our line that would just come in and have a career year if they stay healthy.
Yeah.
Another one that's a little wild, and I've seen trade rumors, and we weren't really talked about as a team that was suited, but the Giants and Saquon Barkley. He's in the last year of his 5th year contract. Obviously, the injury was huge last year. Training camp, stuff I've seen on him, he looks phenomenal. But you know, a lot of people look great in training camp. It's just a matter of staying healthy. But I would wonder what the price tag on a guy like that would be. You know, on a team that's rebuilding, they're kind of trying to move in the right direction. He's in his last year of his contract. Like, I mean, it's basically a prove it year, which is kind of what Miles Sanders is doing. But I think there's a lot more upside with Saquon, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I hope we do something. I'd like to add another running back, and I don't mean go add a guy who's going to be going to compete with, you know, Kennedy Brooks for the 4th spot, or a guy that's going to get dumped to the practice squad. I want a guy that's actually going to get on the field.
Yeah.
But like I said, if Sanders stays healthy, great. But it's very unlikely. We haven't seen it. So
Barkley obviously would be very exciting. I think there'd be some teams that would be willing to bid way more than the Eagles would be. And while it would be exciting to get Saquon Barkley, I don't want him to bid crazy stuff for.
No, yeah,
he can't go on the field. He's hurt more than Sanders.
Yeah,
but he is great. He's very exciting. But last thing I want to talk about, man, and we'll keep the video brief, but the Eagles' backup offensive line is better than some starting lines in this league.
Yeah.
Teams, like, maybe not position for position, but dude, I have become excited about our 2nd round pick, Cam Jurgenz. Dude, he looks like a beast.
Yeah.
I saw him on highlights. I saw him live. Dude, he can really move. Like, I saw him in Nebraska, but he's really good, dude. Like, watching him run the ball, he comes off. I saw him come off. He hits a D tackle kind of on a double team, like hits him, gets to the next guy, takes out a linebacker. He's good. He's going to be a good player, man.
Yeah, he's got a year to learn. And I'm excited to see, if this is Kelsey's last year. Excited to see, well, whenever it happens, Dickerson and Cam Jurgens beside each other, and say I don't know if Sayamalo will stick around. I'm assuming, hopefully, he's played really well. I think he's played into that position really well. Madden doesn't do him justice. I think Madden has him ranked at like 72 or something like that. But
That would offend Stoutland, our offensive line
yeah,
coach. He loves Sam.
72 is a little low. The guy's played very well.
Yeah, he should be at least 80.
Yeah, he needs to be up there. But yeah, I mean they didn't do a lot of players justice on there.
What's Dickerson rated?
I think like 70. He's higher than, I think he might be 75 or 76. Higher than Sayamalo.
Rated.
I think in the 80s. I know the one I didn't like, Brandon Graham's rated 80, and so is Derek Barnett, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But yeah,
Barnett rated better than Josh Sweat. Madden's crazy. Oh well.
Yeah, the ratings are kind of whatever. They're all over the place. And every year they come out, everyone's unhappy with them. And I don't know what system.
Why can't they just get it right?
Yeah, just make all Eagles players good, and everyone else I don't really care about. And no, but they are awful sometimes. I mean, there's like, and especially, and even this NFL top 100. Have you looked at this list?
I've seen it playing, but I haven't seen the top 100. I haven't seen like the top 20 guys.
Yeah, I don't have any like right off the top of my head but I remember reading some of them at work, and I'm like, man, like who is making this list? But like who's like, yeah, that's definitely a good spot for, like, there's players. I don't know, like we'll rattle off a few. Like Joe Burrow needs to be up there. He's going to be a top player. But like, let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look. I know Jason Kelsey was up. I think he was I want to say he was in the 70s, which to me seems a little high. But it is what it is. But there was someone, I think Daniel Jones was higher than Jason Kelsey, was one of the ones I remember seeing. I was like, I don't know who's making the list, but
I remember seeing Jalen Waddle on there. I think he was 64. I thought, did he have a great year? I don't know how good. I know he's talented, but seemed a little bit premature. I saw Trayvon Diggs was one spot ahead of Jamar Chase.
Right.
I was like, what? That's not even close.
We'll have to have a whole episode just grilling or not Stephon Diggs, but Trayvon Diggs. That guy has been burnt all training camp. All training camp. They had a joint practice with the Rams where I think he was guarding Robert Woods. No. Allen Robinson, maybe. Yeah, Allen Robinson. Robert Woods went to the Titans. And he's like face guarding him. He like runs a slant and he's like face guarding him, and the ball goes right by his head into his hands. And like, I think someone commented on it, was like, I don't think that's how Pro Bowl corners are supposed to guard people, but like just double move galore. Like he's getting just burnt. And I was like, man, look, that's last year. The guy got burnt a ton. He had 11 interceptions, but he got burnt a ton.
With his style, yeah.
Yeah, he's just very aggressive. And like your first year, sure, it's like the whole idea of a quarterback who's new and mobile and do all the things. Like first year you might have success, but next year people know what you do. They know you're going to bite on moves. They're going to take advantage of what you do. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun year, man. Gonna be a really fun year, but
awesome year.
We got to get ready. And
any final thoughts?
Let's hope for another running back. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I would have liked. I mean, Ronald Jones was a guy I would have liked to get in the off season, but we did not, unfortunately. But
I heard something about him maybe coming available.
Yeah, I mean, he might be like.
What is it? Tuesday? They cut down to 53.
Yeah, Tuesday. I mean, but Ronald Jones, I think, just signed this off season.
I think he signed a 1-year deal.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I just want someone who can come in and just run the ball up between the tackles. We have the off speed stuff and the change of pace guys, but we need someone who can just run the ball between the tackles and power run, power football. But again, like I said, hopefully Sanders stays healthy. Every year I'm hoping for it, and every year I'm let down by the health, but that's typical for him. And hopefully I was like, well, maybe this is it's a contract year, he's got to prove it, so maybe this is gonna be the year where he takes that leap. But so far it's no dice so far.
Yeah. Well, I'll keep my ears peeled. I'm hoping for another running back as well, and anything really, man. I'm just looking for value. I don't care if it's an offensive line prospect that's like for some weird reason comes available, and we add a depth of an offensive lineman that the Eagles really liked, and they get him
Right.
into camp, work with Stoutland. You never know. 2 years down the line, or we've seen our offensive line become dismantled. You never know who could come in and contribute. So, okay, guys. Well, we're excited for another season. Please, we encourage you to leave some comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on our next episode. Thank you for watching the Bird Brothers. Bye.